Hi, Jamie. Hi, Catherine. So I was having a little bit of technical difficulty earlier, so I deleted the other video that I did. I don't know what happened. But anyway, I'm here now, and I got exactly 27 minutes because then I have another appointment at 8 o'clock. But I wanted to come on and do a live really quick because I did not have time to film. And I just wanted to kind of touch base with you all if you have any questions that I can answer very quickly. Like within the next 26 minutes now, I'll be happy to answer. But I do want to talk about something really quick. I know there's a lot of turbulence, good word to use, turbulence in the working world right now. A lot of people are getting laid off, okay? This is not just a medical coding thing. This is across a lot of different sectors. And what I do want to say to you is this: if you are laid off, or if you're getting laid off, or if you are part of a RIF, a reduction in force, the first thing that you need to do is, of course, not panic. It's very easy to start panicking right now because there's a lot of uncertainty that's going on. But the thing that you have to do is try to remain calm. And the fact that you were able to work as long as you were, and you were able to find a job, says that you can find another job. Yes, while I know it is difficult, and there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment, looking for a job and things like that, this is something that it happens. And I've been through it myself. I've been laid off before, more than once. It's not the best feeling in the world. But the thing that I will say is, if you start to like, okay, we've got to set out a plan. If you can already have a plan in place, if this is a potential in your industry, if you can go ahead and get a plan in place, that might make you feel better, okay? And the fact that you may have to work in a job that is not what you were trained in, not what you were educated on, not what you have a degree in, just to kind of hold you over for right now, there's nothing wrong with it, okay? I know if anything were to happen to my job, I could always go back to bartending. I could always go back to cleaning houses. I could do that because I'm resourceful. And there's a lot of people that as soon as something happens that makes them uncomfortable, they feel really uncomfortable and unable to do things. Well, what I'm telling you is this: you have to save yourself. You have to be willing to step up to the plate when things get a little difficult. And when things happen like this, having a plan in place it's going to help you. If you are part of a reduction in force, a lot of times, or you're laid off otherwise, they will give you paperwork that says you've been laid off. With this paperwork, what you want to do is you want to call whoever you owe, whether it is your car note. Mostly with the car notes, I know that they do this. You may have to ask them, hey, I just got laid off. I don't know when I'm going back to work, or I was part of a reduction in force. Can I get a payment moved to the end of my contract? Now you may think, well, Blue, that's a lot of money, to be on the end of your contract and it's all this interest. This is just for right now. It's not to say that you're not going to find a job within a few weeks, maybe even a couple of weeks, and that you'll be able to catch yourself back up. This is just to kind of give yourself a little bit of a stopgap before all the bills start coming in. Because what you want to do when you have this plan, if you've been laid off or if you are part of a RIF, you want to make sure that you look at all of your bills and you need to prioritize what bills are priority. Your car note is a priority. The best thing that you can do for yourself right now is to try to protect your credit as much as you can. And what I mean when I say that is if you can get this payment moved to the end of your contract so that you can give yourself that 60 days so you can start looking for another job and be able to raise money so that you can start to catch up with your payments again, that's a heck of a lot better than getting hit with a late payment on your credit, because that lasts for a little while, before that stuff falls off. So like I said, protect your credit as much as you can in these kinds of situations. Sell things that you do not need. Things around your house that are unnecessary, sell them, get rid of them, because that's going to help you to get some cash flow in. It's going to help you to purge some of those things that you know you don't need. And it's also going to help you at a time when you have to be counting every single dollar and knowing where your money is going. So that's something to kind of help you. Getting a little bit of relief that way on your bills will kind of help you in that way. But like I said, look at all of your priority bills. Anything where you can get relief of like a month, that they can delay the payment or they can move it to the end of your contract, that's what you want to do. You have to get on the phone and start making these calls if this is happening to you. So that way you can get a little bit of breathing room. You can bring down what you absolutely need to pay. And then you can kind of work to get that money together, whether it is selling something, whether it is getting a temporary job, like something that you can do, like just delivering or something like that, or like Uber Eats or whatever, Uber, or, whatever you'll do something like that. So that way you can get a little bit of money coming in just to pay your bills. And then you can be out there really looking for a job as well, and back in your sector, whatever sector that you're in, whether it is health information or whether it is tech or any of these other industries that are getting laid off a lot right now. So there is hope. There is ways of making money. The worst thing that you can do to yourself right now is to be like panicking, and then you let your credit get all messed up and then you blame your situation. That's not it. I mean, this stuff happens, and there's no sense in crying over spilled milk. This is what I used to tell myself too, is no use in crying over spilled milk. The only thing that you can do now, like I said, is to protect your credit as much as you can and make sure that you're paying your payments. And if you have to get your car note, one of your payments at the end of your contract because you just got laid off, then do that. If you have to go file for unemployment, go file for unemployment. But if you're filing for unemployment, this is not a free pass. A lot of you know this, and some of you don't. Some of you think that, oh, I'm going to let my unemployment run out and then I'll go look for a job. No, you need to be looking for a job right now, even when you're waiting for your unemployment check to come in, because unemployment does not last, and it is certainly not as much as you are used to. Okay, so that's what you have to kind of look at. This is an emergency. This is what we need to do to set ourselves up for success, because a lot of people don't have that emergency $1,000 emergency savings. You should, and everybody, I mean, in the ideal world, everybody would have that, so that when these things come up out of nowhere where you lose your job, you're not scrambling. You have time in order to be able to get yourself another job or have another way of getting some income coming in. But this is just something that for y'all to consider. At least have a plan to know what you're going to do in these types of situations, so that you're not feeling that frustration, because it's already like unsettling enough to go to work one day and then the next day you don't have a job. And you can do everything right. You can do absolutely everything right. But something like this can happen. And it happens to the nicest people. It happens to the hardest working people. And it's just something that you need to make sure that you're prepared for. Would it be great? Dave Ramsey would love it if everybody had $1,000 savings and they started their baby steps. He would love that. And it would be good for you. But again, I've been there where I lived paycheck to paycheck at the time, and I was just like, it's really hard, but you learn as you go, and then you start watching like these videos about, managing your money better, and it gets a little bit easier over time. Increasing your income also does help, but also budgeting and controlling your bills also does help. And in this time when maybe you get laid off, if you have to let go of something like Hulu or Netflix or Prime or Peacock or any of those other ones that you have, if you have to let go of them, let go of them. If you want to keep just one, just keep one, okay? But just something that you all need to think about when you're spending your money is to be as conservative right now as you possibly can, especially with everything so up in the air like it is. And this is not a episode to be debating. I'm just saying, I'm all about preparedness. And yes, the channel is Medical Coding with Bleu, but it's also making sure that, hey, are you guys okay? Are y'all okay? Are y'all preparing yourselves like you should? Because like I said, the best thing you can do is have a plan. It's like when I tell y'all to study, have a plan to study your 20 hours per week. When you're out there applying for jobs, be strategic and make sure that you are applying for places that is going to get you to use your skills and get that experience so that you can apply for those jobs that you really want. Okay. But being strategic and having a plan, that really does help. If it seems overwhelming to you, anything, whether it is that you just got laid off or you're looking for a job or you're trying to get through school, write it down. The worst place for your ideas and your thoughts to be right now, when everything's uncertain, is in your head. That's the worst place for everything to be right now, is in your head. Get it down on paper. So that way you can look at it and it doesn't seem so intimidating. When I learned that, that was a game changer for me. That was really a big game changer, because once I wrote things down, I could plan them out and figure it out. I could prioritize what was important, what was not important, what were the things that I wanted to focus on, and what were the things that I could just put on the back burner for right now. And so that way it's not so overwhelming. When you have to figure stuff out on your own, trust me, you get really good at that really fast, you know. And some of you may have a lot of really good, like, family around or friends and things like that to help you, and that's really great. You are blessed. Make sure that you thank them. But for those of you that are doing it on your own, I see you. And I'm telling you that writing it down, getting a plan, and trying to come up with a solution is going to be a better use of your time than worrying about what am I going to do, or being so overwhelmed that you freeze and you don't do anything at all. Okay? You don't deserve that. And everything happens for a reason. Everything happens because of something. So that's what I'm a firm believer of that. Everything happens for a reason, and like it should. Okay? Whether it is that you're going through hard times and it's making you tougher, or maybe right now you're in a little bit of a comfortable situation. If you're in a comfortable situation, you need to make sure that you are saving. You need to make sure that you still have a plan. You know what you want to do. If something else happens, you are continually sharpening your skills, because again, these are the things that are going to come in handy when and if something happens. When I went through a furlough a few years ago, I was furloughed. I've been furloughed a few times. And the first time it happened, I didn't panic. Right? I didn't panic because I was already in the habit and so used to, like, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Because like I said, there was a time when I lived paycheck to paycheck as well. And so going through that, I already knew how to do, like, okay, how to plan these things, how to prioritize my bills, and what was priority and what wasn't, what was a need and not a want. I knew how to do that. But then it's like when I looked and I saw everybody else that was panicking, like they weren't used to that. They all had, you know, spouses that could help them, but they were still panicking because there was going to be a change in their lifestyle, and we didn't know how long this furlough was going to go on. So because they were going through all of this, you know, they were like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I'm like, I already have a plan. I already know. And if anything else, I could always go back to bartending. I could always go back to cleaning the house. I have no shame in that. I am totally fine utilizing my skills that I had before, long before I became a medical coder. So it's not difficult for me. I'm not scared of hard work. I've done hard work. I have worked in the summers, and I've worked, you know, during the heat of the year and the very cold times of the year delivering phone books. So I've done that before. I am not scared of hard work. I can do physical hard work if I have to, you know. So, but knowing that I have that to fall back on, I'm okay. But when I see other people panicking, I'm like, why are you panicking? There's ways of, you know, managing so that you can get through that next month. It's not the most comfortable, but you start to get a little creative. You get more creative on how you manage things, and it's something that you can think about later fondly, even though in the moment you're like, this isn't fun. No, it's not supposed to be fun. But if your life was easy, then you would be soft. You wouldn't be able to, like, if something happens, you would be panicked, right? And instead of like, okay, hey, I've been here before. This is not new to me. I can manage this. give me your best shot. You know what I mean? Like, what do you have that I haven't already been through? You know? And so, like I say, the best thing that you can do right now is, if you are in the situation where you've been laid off, try to protect your credit as best as you can, okay? Prioritize that credit, whatever you do, especially if you've been building it up for so long. You don't want to mess that up. Make sure that if you can get a delay in your payment, delay your payment, okay? Even if it's gonna, oh, it's gonna charge me a little bit more on interest. Again, when you get paid, or when you get a new job, that's when you start paying that stuff back. Don't rely on, okay, well, you know, I don't have to pay that this month, so I'm just going to pay it off later on. No, you start adding on a little bit extra. If you know that your car note got put to the end of your contract, make sure that you go, and whenever you have a little extra $100, you put that $100 or whatever on the principal, so that way you can start paying it down, and it'll be like you never borrowed it. Okay? And you'll probably pay it off faster. You keep doing that. I'm just saying. All right. Jamie says, hope you're doing well. Just got done with a local chapter meeting. Yay. Sapphire says, hello, how are you? I'm at Penn Foster doing medical coding, and they have a new program that just focuses on medical coding, and they give you a voucher for 2 times testing for AAPC after you've done your full year. Cool. Membership as a student. Cool. That's great. You know, that's what you want to do. You know, cool. That's awesome. That's great that they give you the 2 times, you know. But like I said, if you're studying, I've said this a lot on my channel, and I think you're new because I haven't seen your name before. But if you are studying 20 hours per week while you're in your program, the whole year, oh, trust me, you'll be ready for that exam. You'll be able to walk in and walk right out, because, you know, you're going to be that good with your books if you're studying 20 hours per week and practicing and covering up the multiple choices, so that way you're not looking at the answers and getting that false sense of, oh, I can do process of elimination, because the real world is not process of elimination. The real world is not multiple choice. It is you deciding it, or it is you confirming what the provider is selecting. Okay, so just so you guys know. All right, anybody else got any questions? I got 10 minutes. But yes, I thought I would come on and give you all a little bit of my advice about that. Because like I said, I know it's scary, and a lot of times you don't know what to do. And if I was going through this stuff at the time when I went through it, and my mom was here, this would be the advice that she would give me. You know, you got to make a plan. This is what you got to do, you know. And I had to, like, okay, figure this stuff out. So hopefully my message can reach whoever it needs to reach. And like I said, even though this channel is about medical coding, it can apply to anybody. This type of advice anyway. All right. So, oh, great, Catherine. Ophelia says that is true. Aurora says, thanks for this video. You're welcome. April, that's really helpful. Keeps your mind from spinning. Yes, absolutely. Dominique, hello. Eli says, hi, Blue. Any advice for working full-time, having a hard time finding time, students? Okay, let me get back to that. Catherine says, thank you for sharing your knowledge. I feel like I have a coding bestie every time I watch your videos. Oh, could you talk about sharpening your skills as an experienced coder if furloughed? Okay, I'll get that one. Hi, Vanessa. Okay, so Eli, the time studying. The great thing about studying for medical coding is that all you need at one time is 30 minutes or 1 hour. Everybody's got 30 minutes. If you got 30 minutes to be on your phone on the TikTok or Snapchat, if that's still around, Facebook or whatever, Instagram, whatever, if you've got that 30 minutes, you could be reading something, you could be listening to the coding guidelines, you could be reading the coding guidelines in your book. But it's great because the guidelines are free. You can go on to Google and you can Google the ICD-10 CM Coding Guidelines 2025. The PDF will pop right up, and you can have it, you can be on your phone reading anywhere. Okay. And you could be reading those guidelines and going over them. You don't have to memorize the guidelines, just read them, because it's going to make sense when you start putting it all together in the real world. Okay. But 30 minutes at a time or 1 hour at a time. You do 30 minutes in the morning, you're getting ready for work, you're listening to anatomy videos, medical terminology videos, HIPAA videos. That's study time. Then at your lunchtime, you get your flashcards out, right? If you're having trouble with medical terminology, you learn those prefixes, suffixes, and root words. You do that. That's what you got to do. So you're working with those at lunchtime. Then on your drive home, you could be listening to something again. Medical terminology, anatomy, pathophysiology, whatever you want to listen to. Crash Course is a fantastic channel for that. Everybody's got Bluetooth. You could be listening to it. When you get home, that's already an hour and a half you spent. 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. It's already an hour and a half. Then you get home, you cook, clean, do whatever you got to do. Feed the kids, feed the dogs, cats, whatever. And then you settle in and you work in your workbook for 1 hour. You got an hour to work in your workbook. Then you take your break, 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you got to do. Take a shower, eat, come right back, another hour. That's 3.5 hours you've done in one day. You do this consecutively for 5 days, that's 17.5 hours. And then on a Saturday or Sunday, you have 2.5 hours to do, and that's it. And you've just hit 20 hours in a week. There's a difference in the person who makes the time like that and puts in all that time versus the person who's barely got 5 hours in, or I don't have time. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You don't have to spend hours sitting down. People think that, like, you got to spend hours sitting down. No, 30 minutes to be looking up codes in your book, right? You got the workbooks. You could be working and looking up those codes. If you're learning ICD-10 PCS, if you have the Optum ICD-10 PCS code book, the expert edition, right, with the spiral bound, in the back, there's a section with 388 ICD-10 PCS procedures for you to look up. You've been looking those up and flipping your book and stuff like that. 30 minutes goes by quickly. 1 hour goes by quickly. Okay. You have the time. You have the time. You have to get it in those pockets. Okay. You just have to get it in those pockets. And it's the same advice for you. Who was asking me about that, about keeping the, okay. Catherine, about sharpening your skills. It's the same thing. Getting yourself into those workbooks and practicing with them. Don't just look at them and don't just let them collect dust. Make sure that you're going through and you're working through those scenarios and things like that. If you have not already, there is a website called justcoding.com. It's all one word, justcoding.com. There is a free subscription and a paid subscription. Get yourself signed up for the free subscription. You don't have to get the paid one. The free subscription has 5-question coding quizzes that cover ICD-10-CM, CPT, or ICD-10 PCS. They're multiple choice and you can cover up the answers. Please don't be like those ungrateful people who have told me, oh, Blue, those are so easy. Okay, but if you cover up the answers and you're not treating it as a multiple choice and you're having to look up the stuff on your own, that's going to help you sharpen your skills because you're not sitting here relying on multiple choice. The person who's actually covering up those answers and looking up the codes themselves, that's going to be the stronger coder. That's the coder I'm going to want if I'm a hiring manager looking for coders. I'm just saying. So with that said, now guys, I'm sorry, but I got to go because I have another appointment. You can look through my videos, Zaza. All right, thank you guys. I'll see you all next time. Bye.